Yeah, Bone is amazing. Let's do Bone. If you guys haven't read Bone, it's really good. You want me to tell you some stories? Here we go. I was lucky enough to have Jeff Smith do one of the covers for my Pakkins Land comic book series because the publisher that I was working with was Caliber Press. They got Jeff Smith to do the cover, my characters. But before that, even, I had dropped out of comic books, okay? Boy, I should put a picture up here. This is jazzy, okay? This is just so you guys have some point of reference. Let's get the logo up there so you can see it. We'll back up a little bit. I'll draw Bone while I tell you this story. So before I did Packins Land, the comic book series, over 25 years ago, before I created it, I had been into comic books. I always wanted to be a comic book artist. Comic books had gone down the toilet to me, and it was just like the worst. I thought just there nothing good could come out of comic books. Gave it up. I had a friend who owned a comic book store. His name was John. Even though I quit comic books, I quit collecting, I quit drawing, everything. A friend of mine said, "Oh, you should read this book called Bone." And I said, "Why? All comic books are garbage." And he said, "No, this one's good." And I said, "Okay, I'll give it a try." I read it. Maybe the first, I don't know, 5 or 6 issues. I'm not sure, maybe 10. And I was like, this is really good. It was in black and white. I loved it. And I said, yeah, it's really good. But so what? Nobody it's not doing well. He said, no, it's doing really well. I said, what? People like this? He's all, yeah. And I said, if that's the case, I got a story. And so that's when I came up with Packins Land. And it's nothing like Bone, okay? Nothing like Bone. It's just that Bone was the thing that got me excited about doing comic books again. So Jeff Smith inspired me. I dropped out for 10 years. I quit comic books for 10 years, people. And then came back with a comic book series. Packins Land got picked up. I was just going to self-publish it because I thought nobody's going to want to buy my book. So I was going to self-publish it. And then I went to San Diego Comic-Con. Caliber Press was there. We were showing it actually to another company that did a book called Archangels, I think was what it was. I don't know if the name of the company was also Archangel. But anyways, I was talking to them. They were really nice people, and they wanted to do Packins Land. So we met at San Diego, but right across the way was Caliber Press, and there was a person was with us, a friend of our family. We were going on a vacation, and so we were going to go to Disneyland and things like that. And so we went to San Diego to the convention, and that person was talking with the people across the way from this Archangel people, saying, they're like, "Oh, why are you here? Do you like comic books?" And they gave her some comic books. It was a girl. And she's like, "Oh, I don't know. They're fine. I don't care really. I'm here to go to Disneyland." And they gave her some comic books. And then the guy who gave it to her said, these are age appropriate comic books. So don't worry. It's all good. And I said, "Oh, well, thank you." And he said, she said that you were like showing your book to some people. Can I see it? I'm like, sure. So I showed them Packins Land, and they said, "We want to publish it." I'm like, "What?" They're like, "Yeah, we want to publish it." And so they did. And they did almost all the issues. And they got Jeff Smith to do a cover. So it's pretty cool. All right, so there it is. You got to hear the story of Packins Land.
Any more cool stories?
Maybe. If my memory gets jogged, I could tell some stories, but kind of get involved in the drawing. Then I can't really think of stuff. But if you guys say something that triggers something, like, hey, draw Bone, then I think of something. Oh, yeah, Bone. That dude. What was your first comic you ever worked on? First comic I ever worked on. Well, I've worked on comics that have never been published. I've worked on a lot of comics that have never been published, which is kind of sad in a way. But if you're talking about comics that I've worked on that actually have been published, the first one was Edge. My new comic book Titan Mass and Might is on Kickstarter.